What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are here with Doom Bring On the Bad Guys, which seems to be a series of loosely interconnected books that may or may not tell a whole story. But what this does is this initially picks up with Dr. Doom. And Doom is initially met by a guy named Ferv. Now, as he tells us, Ferv is one of his lesser spies, and one of the more pathetic ones. But what Ferv does is he gives Dr. Doom a very important piece of information about what's going on. Now, it is important to specify, this seems to be a wholly separate story, so it is not taking place at the same time as One World Under Doom, just to clarify that. But what Ferv does is he references a shadowy woman, dark and powerful and mysterious, that she's known as Sister Sorrow, that she's traveling the world seeking items of an exotic nature. Now, initially it pisses Dr. Doom off to no end to hear this, because it's almost like Ferv shows up and is like, there's this really mysterious woman who's just like hunting for stuff that's rare. Why does that matter to Dr. Doom? Right? Like, Dr. Doom cares nothing about the Antiques Roadshow. But at the end of the day, Ferv says she's after daggers, Your Grace, of a most arcane design. And he says, I was bold enough to capture an image of one with the thought that it might be of interest. And that's when Dr. Doom chimes in and says it's a soul dagger, that he had thought they'd been lost to time. Now, the soul dagger was introduced in 2007, the new X-Men run from Craig Kyle, Chris Yost, and Scotty Young. But the original soul dagger, as we saw it, was just a miniaturized version of Ilyana Rasputin's soul sword that was given to Pixie. And so what seems to be going on here, and what we'll actually see over the course of this, there's some familiar elements being introduced in this story, but they're being reworked for the sake of this story. And so Doom, realizing the significance of this, that it's a dagger that can basically defeat magical beings, quite frankly, that in turn he asked the question, where is this mystery woman now? And so Dr. Doom immediately responds. He ends up traveling to Berlin, Germany. But what's interesting about this is that you actually switch over to Emil Blonsky. Most of you guys know him as Abomination. And he meets with Sister Sorrow. Now, here's the crazy thing about this. There is a version of the character Sorrow that appeared in J.M. DeMatteis's run of Man-Thing back in 1997, but the reality is she's a totally different character. Even physically, they look completely different. So what Guggenheim is doing here is taking the concept and reworking it. So it's easier to treat Sister Sorrow as a wholly new character. And so she kind of offers her own bit of a monologue here, that it was a title given to her so long ago that she's actually forgotten her true name. Not only that, when she meets with Emil Blonsky, he provides her with one of these soul daggers. And so Dr. Doom, who's watching all of this unfold using a cloaking spell, seems completely unknown to both Sister Sorrow and Abomination until he's not. Because in that moment, Sister Sorrow seems to know that he's there. Now, what's wild about this is we don't know if he undid the cloaking spell or if she was simply just able to detect his presence. But regardless, the two of them have this bit of a conversation because she says that Dr. Doom's involvement is unexpected and it is inconvenient as well. Because as you guys know, Dr. Doom is immensely powerful when it comes to magic. And so what ends up happening is he tells her, give me the dagger. And they kind of have a bit of a back and forth here, right? Why would I want to do that? I imagine to prolong your life, that Emil Blonsky let it slip that you're acting on behalf of someone else, which means that this matter does not concern you. And that's where she kind of drops all pretense here. And she says, if it concerns my master, it concerns me. And even Doom says, you do not understand the power of the dagger that you possess and what it can do. And her response, I know it's not much use without the others. And that basically indicates to Doom, she actually knows what's going on here and she knows what she's doing. She's not just some lackey carrying out a series of campaigns on behalf of some greater being out there who's just telling her what to do, and she's not asking questions. And that's why Doom responds and says the Soulforge is but a shell without 5 souls to ignite it and unleash its might. And then Doom kind of gives us this explanation. He says the Soulforge is an artifact shrouded in mystery, lost to the ages, the broken dream of 6 lords of darkness drawn together from all the shadowy corners of the world. That you had Yangtze, whose name I'm probably butchering here, who is a denizen of Kamar Taj, right? If most of you guys are aware, is the home of the Ancient One and master of the mystic arts, the Order of Khonshu's Khalil Ahmed, expert in lunar magic. A woman whose name I can't pronounce, formerly of the hidden kingdom of Wakanda, exiled for practicing dark magic. an enchantress from Latveria, Korak from the underwater kingdom of Atlantis, because a lot of you guys may not know, Atlantis has a very deep history in using magic in Marvel Comics, and then Lucifer, who kept his intentions and true identity secret from his comrades. For years, the Dark Lords worked in shadow and in secret. They marshaled all the wisdom and power of their various disciples. Magics, energy manipulation, ancient arts lost to time, combining all their skills and wisdom in service of crafting one of the most powerful objects in all of history, the Soulforge. And that's where he tells Sister Sorrow that the Soulforge has the power to change the world entire. For the means of such supremacy to be in the hands of anyone else is an affront to the will of doom. So he tells her, one last time, surrender the dagger or your life. And at that point, Sister Sorrow reveals her true form, which basically looks like a Cenobite. And then channeling dark magic, the two of them engage in a fight. But Dr. Doom kind of continues this explanation, and he says, dark magic was employed over a year of nights, ancient rituals conducted from forbidden texts, spells cast in languages not spoken in centuries, until the night when all that remained was to power the forge by feeding it with the blood of those who'd brought it forth. And so again, you kind of switch back to the fight between Doom and Sister Sorrow. It's pretty intense because as they're both fighting each other, they both realize how formidable the other person is, that it's not a very easy fight for either one of them to win. And that's when Doom, kind of commenting on this, says, in her power, I sense his hand at work, the Lord of Darkness, who betrayed the other lords. Cynics and skeptics, they trusted no one but themselves. It made them blind to the traitor within their cohort, betrayed by one who was among them, but not of them, Mephisto. And so literally that's where Doom says, it's the king of lies that you serve, isn't it? And that's where she simply says, I don't serve Mephisto. We have an arrangement. It serves me. Now, it never works that way. When it comes to Mephisto, it may look like it works that way, but it never truly does. When anybody makes a bargain with Mephisto, there is always a catch. And when that bargain is satisfied, you will pay the price. And when you die, Mephisto will collect your soul. So he usually always comes out on top. Unless you're talking about someone like Iron Man, who's smart enough to outwit him by just not having any dealings with him or tricking him in some capacity, or someone like Dr. Doom, who's able to trick him as well. Most people are going to fall prey to the power and the tricks of Mephisto. And so that's why Dr. Doom says, she lies. It's so fitting that it's almost quaint. She almost believes what she's saying, because he continues on and he says, Mephisto grasped for the forge. His greed was palpable, eager to possess the forge's enormous power. But as he touched it, the mystic energies inside quickly faded, leaving behind a mere shell, an empty vessel. The thought that he'd been betrayed took root. The great deceiver had been himself deceived. A terrible rage built within Mephisto, which he took out on the souls of the Dark Lords, destroying them utterly and forever, only to realize that it was those very souls he needed to power the forge. But the schemer of schemers would not have given up so easily. He would have taken the forge and bidden his time until time revealed to him the way to replenish the forge anew. And so ultimately, it's Mephisto behind this, because now that Dr. Doom has his answer, it's effectively trying to stop Mephisto. And that's why he says, this Doom cannot permit. Clarity redoubles my resolve, and with my resolve, my fury. And he immediately overpowers her. And in this moment, when Sister Sorrow realizes there's no way she can win, that Dr. Doom was just buying time, essentially, she casts a spell and teleports herself out. And when that happens, she casts another spell that teleports her directly to Mephisto. And so as they have this really interesting conversation, Mephisto asks, right, my figurative daughter has at last returned, speak. And she brings him one of the daggers. And he says, what do you have of the remaining daggers? And her response, I will have them imminently. And so of course, at that moment, Mephisto starts to celebrate. Her being able to bring one means there's no reason she shouldn't be able to bring the rest. But that is when she asks the question, But what's the greater goal here? What's the greater motivation? So obviously, the two of them worked out a deal. The arrangement is a traditional Mephisto deal, which she's kind of been hoodwinked into. And that's where he tells her, I don't recall possessing a need to explain myself to you. And she says, I know about the Soulforge. Whether I should know it or not, I don't know what it's capable of. And that's where you learn Mephisto's true intention, because he says, it is capable of wonders. From atop my throne, I have dominion over all souls who have been cast down into these fiery pits. The Soulforge expands that power tenfold, giving me power over all souls in hell and every soul on earth. And so basically, this Bring On the Bad Guy series is Mephisto trying to take every soul on the planet. And if Mephisto can reach out into the planet, Mephisto can reach out into the universe. Hence why Dr. Doom sees him in this moment right now as public enemy number one. With that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to an end. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace.